We're gonna give the people a second to come in because there's a bunch of people that actually hit me up and said that they wanted to watch this, and I'm pumped.
Cool.
I'm pumped that people want to watch it because
Yeah.
you're you are a very interesting guy, my friend, and
Thank
I
you.
love talking to you. And posting this link right now, and yeah, it's been so long, honestly. Uh, so what you been up to? What's the newest with G right now?
Well, I will. Let me start off with the cliche. We're in unprecedented times.
Of
The
course.
world doesn't look the same. Let's start off with the corona and get that out of the way real quick.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, aside from that, I'm doing good, man. Been absolutely blessed. Been able to do some really cool things. Just recently, for the first time in 3 or 4 years, I just got out of debt, and that's
Whoa.
huge, right? Like whether it's $10 or it's $5,000, it's just a weight off your shoulders. So, um,
Yeah.
just working and working, inching my way forward to get to that point where I can be financially stable. And yeah, seriously dating a very beautiful, wonderful girl that I truly love, and working our way to hopefully be married soon one day. So yeah, man, living the American dream about as much as I can be right now.
Yeah. That's amazing, man. Congratulations. Yeah, it's I mean, we are very good friends, and now that I've given it 2 minutes, and I'll say it many times, ladies and gentlemen, my guest, Geancarlo Vargas, very dear
Thank
friend,
you.
uh, ex band member, which we will get
Ooh,
to. We will
ooh,
get to. Uh,
man,
and and yeah. Retail lead at Sight and Sound Theater in
retail lead,
Lancaster. Uh,
represent.
yeah, a wonderful theater. Check it out when things go back to normal. Uh, so it has been quite a while since we've talked to each other, and the last time me and G talked to each other, I believe both of us were like we were in entirely different places,
Yeah,
and uh, yeah, it was crazy. I mean, we have been close for a very long time, and I ended up moving in with my fiance, and I just found out. I don't think I told you. I'm sure you heard through the grapevine, but I'm going back to school,
there you
and
go.
so both of us doing bigger and better things, man,
Amen,
and
man.
it's very very exciting. Um, you have a very uh like I don't know, you have this way of saying things sometimes. One of the reasons I wanted to talk to you was because it is unprecedented times. And sometimes you'll say some shit that you just like throw away, and the rest of us are just like, "What the fuck did you say?
What?
What did you'll just like drop a proverb on us and then like walk into the
Yeah,
bathroom and take a piss, and I'm like, Wait, uh,
I'm gonna just let it simmer in the room. I'm gonna
yeah,
walk out real quick.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah." Um, so yeah, it is crazy, and it's interesting because you're on like the other side of arts and everything, and I've always seen you as a very artistic person, I think.
Thank you.
uh you always had a certain style, and a certain taste for music. Like, it's very eclectic, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, so it's very cool to talk to you, but yeah, it is weird. I'm sure it feels the same being on the other side of uh live um live theater stuff.
Mm,
I mean, it's not like you're not getting paid, but
sure.
it is like before we almost thought this is an engine that's never going to stop. And
Mm.
then one day everybody was like, by the way, that shit's going in the garage. We don't know when it's coming out.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's kind of crazy to think about that, and I'm glad I'm not the person that gets to make those big decisions,
Yeah,
at
oh,
least
yeah.
yet. You know, the goal is to eventually keep on climbing higher and higher, or at least progressing.
Yeah.
And even if that's not the end goal for everybody, being at a point where you're maybe not happy, because I think happiness is a temporary state, but I
Yeah.
think the state of joy is lasting. Happiness is a feeling in a moment.
Yeah. It's an
Um,
emotion, and emotions
right.
don't last very long.
And they can fool you too. So
Yeah.
just, guarding yourself, so to know that, like, hey, just because you're happy right now, like, what is it that's making you happy? What's the recipe? Let that be what fuels your joy. Um, so yeah, I'm glad I'm not making those big decisions, when we're coming back, when we're not. Do my best to respectfully honor those who get to make the rules, even if I don't agree with them.
Yeah.
Because you know, I what else can I do?
Yeah.
But also knowing that those people are entrusted to be there for a reason.
Hmm.
Again, even if I don't agree with them, and when I do, it's like, all right, I can get on board with this.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I've even had those conversations with people who are making those rules and making
Hmm.
those tough decisions. And, those are the people who say things to me like, yeah, like when I got laid off, because I got laid off from Princeton because I was like,
Sure.
the lowest on the totem pole, basically. And, in the eyes of the university, I was temporary, but I mean,
Hmm.
I was working all of the biggest gigs, and, I am essential, but they were like, he's only essential for live performance, and we don't know when
Hmm.
that's coming back. So,
Yeah.
it's like, it, it, when they were telling me that, I did very much so um honor what they were saying. And when my boss said it, she kept saying, "Oh, she kept like trying to qualify it with me." And I was like, "Dude, don't worry. I know you don't make this decision, and I know
Hmm.
that you're also making this decision for our safety. Like, there's
Yeah.
stuff I could do in the hall. There's stuff all of us could do at work right now. If we were in the theater, all of us would always have something to do. It literally is a thing that never stops, and there's always maintenance, and there's always things you can get better at.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, they're definitely making those decisions for the for my best. And
Hmm.
I think sometimes when things happen to people, or like someone um, says something that you don't like, you automatically think it's bad because you think good can only be these people giving me a check directly. Uh,
Right.
but they were helping me by letting me go because now I have a chance to get unemployment, and like they aren't giving it. They didn't give it to me for some weeks, and like I can go
Yeah.
to them and be like, "Hey, I need back pay for that because I did not have a job. I was not working." Um, so yeah, it is like it did put a lot of things in perspective, I think, for a lot of us, because it's easy when we're getting the check all the time. Um,
Hmm.
because the people who are in our industry and do well usually have a lot of work. And sometimes you could be, clouded by the fact that you're getting the money. Like, you feel happy, but you don't. But, maybe I wasn't feeling as joyful then because I wasn't playing as much music. And it's like, it's all about how you look at stuff.
Yeah, man. I think there's beauty in being able to see the blessing in everything. So right now I'm spending way more family time than I ever had before.
Yeah, all of us
And
are.
and
Yeah.
and it's cool because, yeah, I miss work. I miss the people. I love what I do. But man, it makes you realize how much you spend away from the people that you love. And even the people that you love, when you do get to spend time with them, how much of that is that quality time? Because
Yeah.
I can sit down with my parents and be on my phone for hours on end. And it's like, all right, I'm going to head out back home. It was nice to see you. See you next week. Or I can be present. I can be engaged, and how much more that fuels them. And it's like, oh, like we got to see my son again. Than the times in the past where I was just kind of checking it off my list of things I have to do. So yeah, it's all a balance. It's unfortunate that people have to become ill and unfortunately pass away, and the world is kind of on fire all at the same time. But I'm choosing to stay positive and see the beauty in the things that I get to now do that I wasn't before.
Yeah, and it's weird because I think before all of this, there was always a caveat to everything, but it was never genuine.
Mm,
And I'm noticing a lot more people being genuine, like about because you just have to. Like we are now faced with a lot of absolute truths that like there's a lot of horrible stuff going on, and that people are getting sick, and that there's a lot of risk, and even when do we all go back to whatever is normal? And I think I was like kind of thinking w- how um maybe we should change what normal is,
mm,
because you're right, like, and that's what I've noticed too, like it's not what it should be, and a lot of us are not prioritizing our time in maybe the way that we should, that would like actually make us feel cool, that would like actually you know fuel us more. And like you're right, your parents probably feel way better right now than they did before. And I think they also have a lot of fears. I think everybody has fears right now. That's another absolute truth. And it's like I think sometimes what makes life simpler when there are absolute truths is that sometimes you don't have to say that stuff, because you can just be like, because it's unspoken. Like we don't even need to say that it's horrible that people are getting sick, because it's like it. I don't know. I think if you don't think it's horrible, you should probably like do some Zoom therapy. That's that's
yeah.
that's what you should do.
Yeah. I think there's in a way that's been really cool is the being able to work on that relationship that is family.
Mm,
And in a similar way, the contrary has also been true. So at work, we have these guest services commitments, which are smiling eye contact, serving, anticipating, the retail things.
yeah.
And naturally, just through those things, I'm smiling more because it's something I'm supposed to do. And the more I do it, the more I'm like, oh man, a smile goes a long way. But what I'm finding is you can't see someone smiling behind a face mask. And
Yes.
my relationship with other people has been through their eyes, whether somebody has kind eyes or these suspicious eyes or whatever it is, normal eyes, whatever you want to call it. um, I can't get a read on somebody. Somebody on the road looks at me a certain way, and I don't know if they're mad. I don't know if they're like, hey, you can go first. Like I can't get a good read on it, and it drives that relationship apart to the point where like I have no connection with the world.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. uh I mean, there is that one idiot who it was this one guy who I saw online who said that we were made in the image of God and we look like God, so we shouldn't wear a face mask because then people can't see us. And it's
Yeah, he was
like
like a pastor or governor in Ohio. I was just listening about
he
that.
he holds a public office. I don't what it's like I can't look, man. I get it. Like that's like the fact that you think this is a religious argument, like you're kind of missing the point. It's like
Mm,
it's the thing that you miss, because I think there is something to like you get to choose what facial expression you have, and that says a lot about you. And some people you don't want to know if they're genuine. And I think that's
Mm,
what's driving it apart, because I don't think it's the lack of positive reinforcement, but I think it's like, oh, I think everyone is now fearful that like people can come with a danger or aggression and them not be aware of it. And
yeah,
that is something that like smiling really does go a long way. And like you can tell the people who are like trying to put that out. And it is weird to sort of subtract that energy from public interaction at all times. I definitely empathize with that. Um,
yeah. It
yeah.
makes me want to fix my tone, whether I know it or not. The tone, it has to be something that I have to think about. It's not just talk to this person. It's now, how are you talking to this person? Which again is a reality check that I should be aware of. Like, anyways.
Yeah, I'm choosing my words way more carefully now. And like I think uh another thing is responsibility, that like
Mm,
it got pushed on everybody, that like, are you going to do the responsible thing, or are you going to be an asshole and like, say things like you shouldn't wear a face mask, like, you know,
yeah,
it's
that's one of the worst takes I've seen.
it's like anyone who has the take don't wear a face mask doesn't have a good take. So like I'm not like really listening super hard after that. But
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, but sometimes I think it's really showing a lot of people who don't have a ton of common sense. Like that's another thing that absolute truth gets you. It's like,
Mm,
okay, now you have to use common sense. Common sense is a thing that now everyone is aware of. We're putting
yeah.
out all the information that everyone should be aware of it. And yeah, it's made me um I don't know, more when I go to write music, like I want to write happy music. Uh
Mm,
like the other day I wrote a sad song, and I was like trying to think of why it sounded so sporadic, and it was because I was like randomly trying to inject happiness into it, but
mm,
it's like I don't know, that's not what music is for. Um, but I do like just feel this constant like, oh, I want to put that out. I want to make sure
mm,
that when I talk to people, like I'm really pleasant with them, and also I don't want to be aggressive to anybody at any point. Uh, and that's something that I'm like really cautious of. So like I've
yeah.
stopped making jokes because I don't know, I can't get on stage and make dick jokes and play music and do whatever I want to do. So like now people might think I'm being an asshole and making fun of them, but I'm just like trying to I'm like just trying to inject some lightheartedness.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, it
Yeah.
is that human connection is very important.
Dude, it's what connects one person to the other. And yeah, in a way, I mean, for me and the morals that drive me and my faith, it's so important. And yeah, when it makes it harder to have that connection and fulfill what I want to fulfill, or what I feel called to fulfill, if that connection is limited to your eyes.
Yeah.
But it's not impossible either.
No. No, it's not. You just like before, we all have to put effort into it. And I think I think anyone who isn't at this point on the boat of like, all right, if someone's having a shitty day, like don't be an asshole. Like there's a reason people are probably having a shitty day. And it's
Yeah.
like, um, you know, be considerate. Like that's just
Mm,
something that I always try to push to people.
yeah.
I don't care what you do. I don't care what you believe in. I don't care what anything. As long as you don't hurt people and you just make an effort, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be as hard as it is, but
Yeah.
But it takes just one person, one act of kindness, one decision to want to do good, to hopefully inspire the rest. And it's cool to see like political figures such as MLK and someone who's on the totally opposite side of the same cause, like Malcolm X. Hey, they went their separate ways about wanting to inspire change. And I don't want to say one is right or wrong. They both really helped the cause that they were going for.
Yeah.
Um, and for us, maybe it's not as big of a cause, or maybe we have other causes that are big. But something like coronavirus, I think it's we should be rallying towards the same cause, and it's like, or to the same movement, and it's like let's find a solution. Let's get that vaccine. Until that time comes, let's show kindness. Let's love one another.
Yeah, and I think I don't know, I think what we can learn about is what the new normal should be, because it's like it's going to
Yeah,
be weird. You probably shouldn't get on public transportation as much and like all of this stuff, and um there are new things to be safe about, but what everyone should be in for is like be considerate, and like the new
no,
normal for all time should be considerate.
hmm. Yeah, it's funny. Not trying to switch gears. I just thought it was funny, and I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, no, go
You
ahead.
mentioned like you mentioned wanting to be less aggressive. Just watching that space.
Yeah.
Because I've also been teammates with you for soccer, and I've
Oh,
seen that
oh, wait, wait,
pedigree.
wait, wait, wait. I have to stop you. Yeah. So, now, when I say I want to be less aggressive, let's just say I have an aggression problem. When I was a young boy, I had an aggression problem.
I mean, adults are just grown children.
Oh yeah, the only qualifier for being an adult is to not die in childhood. That's it.
There you go. There you go.
That's
For
it.
sure. Yeah, no, as you were mentioning, the different stages of life that we've done together being in a band, I was like, man, the band was great, school was good, soccer, like celebrating those
Yo.
victories,
Oh my god. The celebrations are like,
nothing like it, man.
oh god.
Love that. I strictly remember there's moments of games that are just etched in your mind, and if you play a sport, you probably know what that feeling is like.
Forever.
And I'm sure as musicians, I don't play anything, but obviously you are a musician, and some of our friends are musicians, and there's a certain feeling when you play a certain gig, when you put on a certain show, that feeling. And I can't quite put into words that of a musician, but I can put into words um, the very last day of each show at Sight and Sound. The CEO comes onto the stage, might be the CFO or the CEO. I'm not sure exactly what his role is. But Mr. Enk comes out and he's like, we don't do this after every show because we don't put on these shows for us or to glorify us. It's for a different cause. But for the very last show, he brings out all the cast members, the deck team, the lighting team, the retail team, the ushers, and they all come out into the aisles. And usually I'm a very chill person. I don't like to take credit for things if it's like really really good, because I'm just a part of the project. And if it's something that goes bad, then I'll be the first one to raise my hand and take full ownership, because I don't want somebody else to feel the weight of that. So for the last 3 years, they do that at the end of every show, and I
Mhm.
usually send in the team and I let them have their moment. And I'm like, that's awesome. Like I really want them to have that moment.
Yeah.
For the first time, I went in with the team this past year, and there was a certain magic of like this theater has 2,050 people. It's a sold out show. You go in, you see the people next to you that you work with every single day for the last year, hand in hand, arm in arm, and just people on their feet. And it's like, wow, you don't realize that there have been hundreds of thousands of people coming in to see this. And as a musician, it's maybe not hundreds of thousands yet, but it's 1,000, it's a few hundred, and it's like these people came to see you, and it's a certain magic for it. For soccer, I feel like it's a different kind of magic because you're just like, hey, whoever comes, I'm doing this for me and the 10 other people on the field.
Yeah, it's for the
Um,
boys.
it's for the
It's for the
boys.
squad. It's for the girls. Like when you that's well that's the thing about I will say about being a musician and like, uh I like sometimes get on stage and just like try to talk and it is that like a lot of times like the times that you remember are like absolutely eating shit and hearing your friend in the back just die laughing. And the whole time, they're laughing because they know how horrible it is. And that's the
Mm,
funny thing. Like, it is that camaraderie that it's like the times in music that you remember are like, well, it is that of like, I will say things that I came up with. Like, if I came up with it, I'm, and they cheer, it's it is like it's a different thing.
mm.
I've never felt anything like it, and as soon as I felt it, I was like, "Fuck!" I was like, "Ah, my life's over. I'm not doing anything
So,
else."
so what do you do with that? Like, you capture the moment, you try to bottle it up and kind of be present, but you're in your head. I'm sure there's another time where you're like, I got to do this again. Like, what's next?
Well, you don't go to sleep. You
Mm,
don't like you. People who if you go home from a set and you don't like and you fall asleep immediately, but I please call me because whatever opiates you're taking, I need to take them because it's just like I don't know, man. It's the greatest thing in the world. It's the only thing
mm,
I could say. It's like for people who don't know, Sight and Sound is a legit. It's a legit room. Okay, he's not kidding when he says there's 2,000 people and it's sold out. There's they pack 2,000 people in there every time, and I know whatever the maximum is, whatever the maximum is for that room when they go back to it, they've hit it. Okay, they've already hit it, and they're
yeah.
gonna hit it, and it's like, I am not at that level yet, but I have like there is a set that I hope this lady watches this. Hello, Lish, I love you. After a set in a practice, there was no audience. She was like, "Hey, you should go to New York." And I was like, "Who?
Huh?
Who? Wait, who?" She was like, "You should go to New York." I was like, "I don't why?" She's like,
Mm,
"Because you could do it." And I was like, "Oh, shit." And that was one of those times where it was like I don't know, every like I was feeling some type of way about my current situation and you know I am not I never tried to put down, where I was from, but it just like it
mm,
wasn't the place to be for my profession
yeah.
right now. And I hope it is. I'm gonna pump money into it, hopefully, so that it is. And I'm gonna try to over my life, like you said, I do want to be one of those people who makes those decisions, who can um, you know, try to get the best for everyone and, try to uh put something together that like people would want to stay for and that like maybe
Mm.
people would want to come for and um you know it's uh I don't know what I do with it. um oh, thank you, Vince. Someone just
And
said in the chat, good luck with my dream. Thank you. But
I
yeah,
think
I
there's
don't know what I do
there's
with it.
another part or aspect of it too, where like, man, you're up there and you're like, whoa, I just did that and people are clapping, and that's my baby. That's what I came to bring to the table and offer for you.
That's my
And
fucking
when
baby,
people
dude. That's my baby. I'm dead ass serious. That is my baby. That's why I don't. That's why we don't. People wonder why musicians don't. You think I don't have a locker full of shit? Of course I have a locker full of shit. I'm a musician. I'm a professional. Get the fuck out of the way. So it's like but when like that's the thing, because if like people don't like it, that's the other thing. Like you
Mm,
remember all the ups, but it's like you also remember all the downs, and it does make you thankful for a lot of things. Like that's one of the things that I was like, I I literally had to have the thought of like, do I at 2 years from now, and I am I going to be comfortable enough to stand in a room with 1,000 people and 40 crew people and 6 other musicians, and I was like, nah, I'm taking this shit to the grave. I don't give a fuck. Okay, I don't give a
yeah,
fuck. I'm gonna be telling dick
there's
jokes till I die. So you're gonna have to fucking deal with it.
get used to it.
Yeah, get used to
There
it.
was there was a really cool quote, and I forget who said it. I'm not good at remembering who said what. I
Oh,
just
dude,
remember
me either.
the
That's why
what.
I'm horrible in school.
But it was like people don't remember what you told them. People remember the way you made them feel.
Yes.
So for you, you remember what that lady told you because it made you feel like, whoa, I could make it. And it
Yeah,
was that
and
uplift of like, whoa, I can do it. But even in the opposite of that, like the way you can make the crowd feel, if you can connect them to an emotion or a feeling, you got them in the palm of your hand, and that's a recipe for success.
oh yeah, yeah, and I don't even remember what I was gonna say, because it's just like, I don't know, man. I really, it is another, I don't know. I guess I never imagined it like it would be like
Mm,
this, because when I found out that this was a thing, I was like, hold up. You're telling me that people will pay money to see you sing? You're telling me people to pay money to like see a show that you put together, and I was like, "Oh, wow." So there are people who put those shows together.
mm,
And I don't know, that there is a there is a grounding that happens, because every time it happens, I think it's never going to happen again.
mm,
And I think, I don't know. It does. I do battle with the fact that it is kind of a negative way to look at things. Um, if I look at it constantly like it's never going to happen again, but it has made me very thankful for a lot of stuff, because
yeah.
it's so insane that people would stand up and clap. And like, I did a Stevie Wonder impression one time in this show, and like literally every single night all the people were like, that's a great impression, that's a great impression. The only dude I remember was like, you like Stevie Wonder? And I was like, yeah, I do. He was like, no, no, you've watched Stevie Wonder, you know what you're talking
Mm,
about. And I was like, oh yeah, that's why I wanted to do that part. It wasn't just that I was the only black guy. It's I was the No one
yeah.
could do it better than me. That's why I did it. And he was like, oh
Mm,
yeah, no, that's sick. And I will always remember that guy. I'll always remember that guy. And he honestly is one of the reasons why I did it, because um I don't know, that's when I realized that I was doing it for the musicians in the room. I'm doing it for the comics in the room. More than anything, I want, like, that lady was my peer as well.
yeah.
So that was
Wow.
a like, like, she wasn't much older than me. She was just grown. I was a kid at the time that she was talking to me. Like, I'm not, completely grown yet, but
Yeah.
uh, at that point, she was grown. And like, when your grown peer, like someone that you respect, like who is in the same, especially when they're in the same age group as you, um,
Mm,
and I think when they're in the same age group as you, and when they're older than you, like, that's when sometimes it can like really hit you different, because sometimes you don't expect it. Because I just
mm,
expected, oh yeah, musician, like the same way comics are, like, we can sometimes be hard on each other, because we love it so much that we don't want people
Yeah.
to disrespect it. But yeah, I'm always doing it. I was I like I found out that the whole time, like I was just trying the whole time. That's what I wanted. Like I was going there waiting for someone to go, you know, you should do that. And honestly, she wasn't the first person to say it, but finally the person I need said it, not said it.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, said it. And yeah, that'll. I mean, dude, I thought I was high the rest of the day. I was like, wait, I don't remember smoking weed. What happened? What happened?
Yeah.
Like, I like walked out and I was like, okay. Like, I took so long to pack everything up because I just,
You're feeling
was,
it.
yeah, I was so overwhelmed. I was so honored.
Mm. I think, dude, having peers is such a great thing. I think in almost any stage of life, I don't think humanity was made with the intention of you. It was made for something bigger, like for us, for we.
Yeah.
So when you say like a peer was the one that said that to you, that reminds me of something else. And it's like somebody could tell you something and it's like, oh, cool. Well, that was nice. Like, or somebody says you suck. And it's like, all right, whatever. Gonna move on. And you are able to move on from the good things as you are from the bad things. And occasionally you get someone who's like, "Wow, that was awesome," and you really remember that. And then
Yeah.
you get somebody who's like, "Oh, that sucked," and like really, gives it to you, and you're like, kind of get takes like an extra second to really get over it. Um, but when a peer, someone who understands the grind, the struggle, the things that you're going through, that things that you are experiencing, maybe they already experienced it. When somebody in that position speaks up, you listen because you know they understand. And that goes a lot more than the naysayers and the casual fan.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And yeah, and I think there, because this is such a small world, I'm not going to name names. And I'm going to try to explain my way around this. But there was someone who was my peer who at one point came up to me and was like, "Meh." And I was like, "What? What's what?" And they were like, it just, I don't know. I've seen better. I've seen you do better, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I think I worked pretty hard today. I feel like I really, and we got into this argument, and at the end of the argument, their reasoning to me was that I uh didn't, I don't remember exactly what it was because I'm trying not, because if I say what it was, they're going to know who
Mm,
they are. So that's why I'm
yeah.
trying to explain my way around it. Basically, it was a comment about my instrument choice. And I said
Mm,
and I said, "Well, if you could play it better, like go ahead. Do it." Like I wasn't, I don't show up to class or show up to a session or anything to try to fucking stunt on everybody that's there. I'm trying to help everybody out. I'm trying, what makes a song sound the best? That's how everyone gets better. That's how I get better. That's how I make everyone the best around me. I mean, MJ was great, but LeBron makes everyone great around him. And MJ
yeah.
will just drop 65 on your head. And, he'll play amazing defense. Don't get me wrong. He'll play
Yeah.
amazing defense. But LeBron's offensive uh just instincts are
You
better.
can tell by the contract that the players around LeBron are getting. Like he
Yes.
makes them better. People
Yes.
want to come and play with LeBron.
That's why LeBron's teams switch up because they'll play with LeBron and they're like, "This motherfucker's an A talent. How did we miss this? He's
Yeah.
getting paid 3 million. Oh, we can match that. How about 7?" And it's like,
Yeah.
you know, like Pippen got the biggest contract. Rodman got a decent contract, but it's like, and I have to look more into their, how much money people got. Like Pippen did not get a big contract. He only stayed because, he
Yeah.
knew.
Success.
Yeah, he knew Mike was that guy. He knew. He was like, oh, if I stay with this motherfucker, nobody's beating us. Like,
Yeah.
And when he got in the league, he was like, "Oh, this is what the league is." Okay, all right, all right. I just need to learn, and then he got good at it. And he was like, "I'm gonna fuck these motherfuckers." All right, give me 6 months. I'm gonna sit at home. No,
Yeah.
no, no, it's fine. I'm gonna sit at home. Yeah, yeah, whatever. Don't offer me a new contract. Whatever. They, oh, you came back and offered me a new contract. Okay, Bob, Bob, and then they're just like, and then he just,
Right back where they started.
oh yeah, he was like, oh, I no, that didn't affect me. Let's win a chip. How about that? And you know, those are also the stories. That's why Allen Iverson is amazing. Allen Iverson filed for bankruptcy and then dropped like 47 and 13 and like 8 boards. And he was like he's what, 6'2", 6'3"?
Yeah.
He's a dog. And it's like those are the people that inspired me along with musicians. And
Mm.
sports played a huge role in my life, and were a part of that. Like I loved playing with you, and yeah, you don't do it for the other people.
Mm.
You do it for those people who are around you. So let's get to the band thing.
All right. Yeah. Yeah.
In high school, do you remember the name of the band that we were in? Because I do not. I was thinking about this and
Dude,
I couldn't remember.
I thought we somehow ended up with like Nightmare, and I had created this very sketch logo, and then we were like, well, that's not really fitting of who we are because we're just like five random kids from like
Well,
not the suburbs, but
yeah.
we get by.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
Nightmare is not necessary. We're not a death metal band,
No.
but
No.
we also couldn't arrive anywhere with the names. I think we're like, we'll come up with something as we go. Keep it for now. Hey, let's keep on playing.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Dude, I talk about that still randomly. It's one of those like two truths and a lie
Oh
I'll
yeah.
bring up, and people are like, you don't seem like the kind. And I'm like, yeah, but I was.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And yeah, it was the best way to spend a Friday.
Oh yeah, best way to spend a Friday. Good walk home from school. Let your kids walk home from school, people. By the way, let them walk home from school. That's how they make actual friends. Okay? Socialize
Yeah,
your children.
for sure.
But yeah, best way to spend a Friday night. No band that plays like we were playing like Nirvana covers and like Weezer covers, and then we were
Yeah,
like, let's name ourselves Nightmare, and we were like, and then we never came up with anything better, and then we stopped playing before we came up with a name.
dude, that's how quick life happens, man. I
Yeah,
all of a sudden I move 2 hours away, and it's
yeah,
like, sorry guys, best of luck. Y'all got this. Peace out.
yeah, and like that group of friends, we were such good friends that we just spent basically every day together. Like if there was a World
Yeah,
Cup on, I saw those motherfuckers every day for 12
yeah.
hours a day. And then we would go downstairs and play video games or play music and
Play
just
Rock Band, FIFA. We
shout
had
out to
the
Rock Band. Rock
Rock
Band.
Band too.
Whoo. You don't even
Yeah,
know.
it was for sure probably one of the most fondest memories I have of high school.
Yeah.
And it's not just the bands that we were covering that is still music that I listen to today. And it wasn't just the people that I was doing it with, which are still friends that I have today. It was just like the aura of like, man, we're writing and we can't wait to walk home. We can't wait to get started. Can't wait to plug everything in. Hey, let's go to the music store. We need picks. We need strings. We need a new mic.
Shout
Like, let's all pitch in.
shout out. I'm eyeing a guitar there right now. Shout
Oh
out to
yeah,
Russo Music in Hamilton.
yes.
There's another one at Asbury Park.
Ooh, the
Excuse
OG.
me. OG. They are amazing. Oh my god. So burpy right now. They are amazing. And yeah, man. Let's go get a bunch of picks that we're gonna lose.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, let's do it. Come
What
on.
was, if you remember our set list? What are some of your favorites that we played? Maybe your top two or three.
I don't remember too much of the set list. I know that we did. Oh my god. I know that we did a Kings of Leon song.
Oh yeah, Use
I
somebody.
you oh we did use somebody, and when even when we did it, I was like, this song, I mean, I didn't say a meme, I didn't know the word meme at that time,
Yeah.
but I was like, this song is a fucking meme, and you guys were like, no it's not, and I was like, yes it is.
Yeah.
And no one believed me, but dude, I was just playing drums. What the fuck do I know? All right, fine, I'll just play drums. So that, but
Yeah.
I was playing drums and singing background vocals, and like
Yeah.
that, that is one of my fondest memories. Uh,
Mhm.
Also because it was that song, and I don't remember what other song I honestly don't remember any of the other songs.
It makes sense because you've been through a musical path that I haven't been through.
Yeah,
So I
dude,
remember them because
there's
I just
thousands of
do.
songs up there. There's
Yeah.
thousands.
There was so here's the original lineup, right? We got Curtis on the drums
Shout out
and
backup vocals.
doing the vocals, right? Double duty.
What up?
We got Steven Costello on the guitar. We got Eric Dye on the guitar. You know,
Yes.
shout out to Eric for and his parents for letting us use the basement.
Yeah.
Iconic space.
Shout out to McFly and the family. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh.
Oh,
We had Kevin on the bass. Kevin, friend of the show.
yes.
Um,
Yo, by the way,
and
nobody knows that guy he can play a bass. He can legit
he can
play a bass.
slap.
Yeah,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not saying I'm not saying he has jazz chops. I'm not saying he's the most studied, but if you give that guy a song, he can fuck it up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And he's fun. He always had a lot of fun playing that too.
Yeah, and he can write.
Um, oh yeah. Dude, talented guy.
Yeah,
Um, and then I somehow ended up on the vocals because I couldn't play anything else.
that is true.
But I really wanted to be a part of the band because, like, why
Yeah.
not, right?
Yeah.
So that was the band. We played Seven Nation Army.
Oh my
Um,
god, we did.
it was
We were
Use
early.
Somebody.
Nobody gave us
Oh
that
yeah.
credit.
Oh yeah.
At that time,
There
everybody was like,
was.
"What fucking song are you playing? That song is shit." And we were like, "This song rips. What are you talking about?" And
Oh yeah.
no one remembers it, but we know, G.
Um, dude, Learn to Fly, Pork and
Oh,
Beans,
yes. Yo.
Everlong.
Oh, Everlong, the fucking forearm
Um,
shredder.
and there was a few other ones. A little bit of Green Day, Brain Stew.
Oh yeah.
Um, Weezer. I already mentioned Weezer.
Yeah, there
So
was a Weezer song.
it was just fun. It was good cover music, you know, for entry musicians, I guess. And
Yeah.
we had fun. Truly,
Yeah,
that's what it was all about.
and dude, and that's what it was all about. Like we just had fun. And that's one of those times where I'm like, man, what a stupid bunch of kids, but thank God.
Hmm.
Thank God.
Yeah, I wish. I think one of my things is so I pardon my voice crack, but that leads perfectly into what I'm about to talk about. I was never super confident with my voice, right? I'm like, all right, I can sing a little bit, like here and there, um, but I really love music, so let me be part of the band. So we do the band thing, and I never had that confidence in myself, and I probably still don't today because that's just not what I do. Um, but it was like you guys, I think we had such a talented group of people. In a way I was like, man, I really wish I could hold my weight when it comes to this because I know Eric can rip. I mean, he doesn't give himself enough credit, but he can rip.
Yeah,
Like you said,
if
Kevin
he
gets
like
down.
legit sat down and studied, Eric could really shred if he like put his mind to it.
Yeah, and Steven, you know, he got down, and I'm sure if he wanted to, he could have kept on doing that for a little bit. And
Yeah.
of course, you play every instrument under the sun. So like, I
I don't
think
play every instrument under the sun.
just most.
But I
Um,
play a few, yeah.
um, yeah, I was always like, man, I wish I could do more. I always felt like I did the minimum, and yeah, even something as simple as remembering lyrics, I was not great at that. I did all right, but
Dude, don't tell anybody. Horrible at remembering lyrics. I could play
dude,
everything. I could sing every line, but horrible.
ironically, my girlfriend strives at remembering songs, lyrics, show lines,
That's
and she studied
perfect.
music in college, so I think that has a huge portion to do with that.
Yeah,
Um,
probably.
but I'm like, how do you do that? Like, what?
Dude, when I was in middle school, literally like the choir, the well, it wasn't a
Yeah.
choir, it was a legit choir, the choir that was for the high school. I was like gonna leave one day, and the middle school choir teacher comes up to me. I was never in middle school choir, but I always did the theater shows, and she was like, Curtis, you have to come today after school. And I was like, why? And she was like, because you have to try out for the choir there, just do it. And I was like, okay. So I went in, and like she did this thing where like she plays it on the keyboard, and then you have to sing it back to her.
Okay.
And I got there, and I went almost last. And I noticed that she did it way longer with me. She was way more
Hmm.
excited, and literally everyone in the room was looking at me like, and I was like, uh,
It's almost like you didn't even know
I
how
had,
much
dude,
you were doing.
everyone in the room knew before me.
Hmm.
Everyone in the room knew. I was just like, whatever, doing it, doing it. And I was just like not paying attention. I was just like, oh, yeah, whatever. And I was just
Yeah.
doing the exercise. I was just doing what she told me to do. And I was up there like way longer. And then she was like, wait, come, like, and then she was like, that's really good. I would love to have you in the choir. And I was like, like, you want, she was like, yeah. And then the choir teacher was like, oh, yeah, like sometimes she just like offers it to kids. And I had no
Nice.
clue. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
Shout out to all the teachers and people who get to make those choices, like we were talking about earlier, who
Yeah.
don't just sit idly and say, oh, that person could probably do really good, but I'll let them figure it out for themselves. Like, no, they saw the talent and they're like, hey, let me call you up to excellence. Let me tell you what you could be. I'm gonna leave it up to you if you want to do that. I think that's also good because you're allowing the respect and enough space for them to make those decisions. But I think I suffer from that sometimes in which I tend to be a little bit hard headed when it comes to work.
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, I'm going to put people in situations where they're going to struggle,
Mm-hmm.
and I will more than happily help them if they ask. Because for me, asking for help shows a lot of maturity. But if they don't ask me, they might fail, they might drown.
Yeah.
And then there's the other school of thought where it's like, let me put people in spaces where they're going to succeed and I know they're going to do well. Let me not put them in areas where they're going to struggle. And I think you want to be somewhere in the middle. I'm not, and I know that that's a huge growth area for me. But I'm glad that somebody saw that in you and said, this kid could succeed here. Let me just let him know.
Yeah, that lady changed my life. That lady definitely changed my life. And I think about that all the time. I'm like, that bitch changed my life 1,000%. Because my mom told me to go try out for the show, but she noticed that it was music. She was like,
Hmm.
"Oh, I see. This
Yeah,
kid rips all the music. That's why he got that part." Like the rest of the stuff was okay. I mean, I was kind of a natural, but like I think that's the thing I was most natural at.
yeah,
And at one point, she let me play congas on a song before I ever played any drums on like a thing before I was like the drummer on the thing.
yeah.
Because I also went to school with TJ, who was just like shredding. Like his parents knew when he
Hmm.
was very young and gave him lessons. And that's where I'm, playing catch up now. But yeah, people take very well to suggestion.
Hmm.
Um and like that's another reason why like um people being disingenuous and like smiling at you is can sometimes people are doing bad, but like a lot of the time it's it's so great because so many of us have like had our lives changed by this one person who was like, do it, don't do it, I don't give a fuck, I'm just letting you know
Yeah,
this is a good opportunity, so you should probably do it.
yeah, yeah. No, for me, like I totally agree. Like, don't. don't sit by if you see something. Like if you see something and somebody has potential, you don't know if that person has the support around them to call to that.
Yeah.
If you can further somebody, why not? At
Yeah.
least point them in that direction. And if they don't want it, that's totally fine. Um, but it's better than never having that support or being called up in excellence because you think that somebody else is going to do it. And that's something that they talked about even when I was doing my CPR training and whatnot. It was like, hey, you see something happening, people are less likely to call 911 in case of an emergency because they think the person next to them has already called or they're already calling and ends up that nobody's calling. And it's like, whoa, if what if everybody called? That what's wrong with that? And it's like, man, what if everybody told you growing up that you really had a thing going instead of just one person? Like, would you still be playing catch up? Maybe not, maybe so, but like, I think it's just really important to encourage that growth in people.
Yeah, and I think also one of the things that I didn't know was the reason why people were getting the lessons. And like, my
Mm,
parents didn't have enough money to put me in lessons year round. Like it's expensive.
yeah.
And if everyone told me, I wouldn't have given a shit because I would have known it was a job. No one told
Mm,
me it was a job. Everybody kept telling me that, like, oh, for the longest time, they were like, only a 0.1% of the people actually pay their bills who are playing music. Most of those people have another job. And it's like, they didn't tell me that part of the reason was because, um, there's a lot of stuff you have to do for yourself. There's a lot of stuff. So by trade, people would just be able to do different things, and they felt more secure in like I am doing something. And when I took CPR training, they said the same thing. And that was one of
mm,
those things where like I just got a job at a camp and it was whatever. But once they said that to me, I was like, "Oh shit. Yeah, why not? Like what does it matter?" Like if people
yeah.
give you crap for it, it's the same thing for I think everything you do for negative stuff can be said for positive stuff in times when like you feel like someone needs help.
Yeah.
Um, if you feel like it's negative and you would do something, if you feel like there's something positive that you can do, there's literally no harm in going up to someone and saying, "I really like your jacket. I really liked what you did
Yeah.
yesterday. That was sick."
Dude, encouragement is awesome. And again, whether you get it all the time and it kind of loses its meaning, um, or you don't get it at all, and it's like, whoa, that's really cool. Um, I know for me, I I really started seeing the fruits of encouragement when shortly after I started working at Sight and Sound.
Mm.
I started part time in late September, so 2 months later, 3 months later, at the end of the year, my boss was like, "Hey, have you thought about this? Have you considered this?" And we are going to have an opening at a different position within the same team. And it was basically we have sales associates, which is like entry level retail position, and then you have your senior, and then you have your lead, and then you have your supervisor. And the lead is basically there's two of them. You're basically the right hand person of the supervisor, eyes and ears on the floor. What's happening? How can we better this person? How can we challenge them? How can we bring the best out of them? And how can we encourage? And amongst other things, of course. Um, and he had basically said like, "Hey, have you thought about lead?" And at the time I had it, I had my head down, just work hard, show up every day on time, do the best you can, be kind to people, and it shows. Like the hard work shows. Um, I applied for it, and I ended up not getting it, and I'm so happy I didn't. Some of the feedback I got was like, "You're too green. You're very young and not quite experienced yet here." Um, so it's a no for now, but like what you've already been doing, take that and run with it because like you're just not there yet, but that doesn't mean you're not going to be there forever. Like this is the trajectory that you want to be on. So you keep your head down, and a year and a half later, I'm in the position that I am now, and it was cool because I didn't have to apply to be a senior. After enough hard work and effort, they were like, "Hey, we've noticed. Would you like to?" And I was like, I haven't done anything out of the ordinary. I just show up on time. It's like I'm a humble dude, and I was just like, if you think I can do it, sure. Like I would love to, but like I'm just doing my job. I'm just doing what you tell me to do every day. Um, and it's so cool that they saw that in me and didn't just let it go. They were
Yeah.
like, "Hey, you have more to offer, whether you see it or not." And at that point, I didn't see it. And it's so cool that I'm in a position now where I see that in other people and I can call it up in other people, to the point where even now, my current peer, my other fellow lead, I haven't necessarily mentored them, but I've been a big part in their development. And now we're peers. And now I need them as much as they need me. It's super cool, man.
Yeah. Yeah. The other story that I think really showed that for me was Princeton University gave me a job when I had no skills. And somehow the people there were like, my dad talked to the audio engineer there, and he was just like, he was also talking to the guy who was my supervisor at the time, my direct supervisor. And he was like, at like 3 years later, 3 years down the line, a lot of positive things happened. I get a ton of experience. I tell him that I want to do audio stuff. He's super encouraging. And he says to me one day, um, we were just talking about something else. And he just flippantly goes, oh, we were talking about why I wasn't touching stuff. And he was like, this person didn't want you to touch it, blah, 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 blah. But, the reason we hired you is because we saw someone, I wouldn't hire someone for audio if I didn't think they could be me. And I was
Mm,
like, oh shit. And like this guy's an audio engineer at a top university in the world, at a room that we flip over constantly. We are doing shows constantly. While one person's taking a break, another person is standing on the stage practicing for something, writing it down for all of us to go over later so that we can talk about it in the meeting or in an email. And it was just like, now that I'm away from that, it's like I understand. Like I understand having to multitask. I understand um, the things that I have to learn. There was a job that they offered me that I didn't even apply for because she basically said that before she like hired anyone, because one of the guys who I knew was going to get the position is much more qualified than me, and honestly, he should get it. Because I didn't have a ton of stuff going on, I applied to a university again, and I got in, and all of that changed my life.
yeah.
Um, it really is. We should just all be really thankful for everything that these people see in us. And the fact that you have become one of those people so young should be a testament. Like one of the reasons I had you on is because you are one of those people who can see good in people, and is very intelligent. And I don't know, man. I feel like if you put us in a room and they were like, "Are these two friends?" They'd be like, "Fuck no." But like, we're fucking boys. Like people don't like. I would cancel real shit for this guy, for real. Like I would
Yeah,
I
for
would
sure.
I would cancel a Comedy Central meeting for this guy. I don't give a fuck. That hasn't meant anything since 2003, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. That's such a dig at Comedy Central.
Dude, I think something that you mentioned earlier too was, or just now with the guy who was like, "Hey, I wouldn't have brought you here if I didn't think you'd do it."
Yeah.
Like the way I see my job right now is I'm looking to replace myself. Like I want to
Yes.
find the person who's going to take my place because
Yes.
I know I'm not going to be here forever. And that could mean tomorrow or it could mean 10 years. But I want to bring that senior up to my position. And I want to bring that sales associate to a senior. And when my current boss leaves, like, hey, I would love to like take on like another challenge and more responsibilities. I'm always striving for more while being thankful for the present. Um, but I want to find that person and give them all the tools that I can, all of my knowledge, so that they can do what I do. Because I'm not afraid of losing out or giving away too much of myself. I feel like if I did, I'd be robbing the people who I work for of an opportunity. So I think it's really cool that people believe in you enough to be like, hey, I wouldn't have brought you here if I didn't think you could do it.
Yeah.
Now let me help you. You know.
Yeah. And, it goes back to just helping people. That's what everyone should do. You should help people. You should strive to help people. And yeah, it is amazing. You know, those people like those people, as well as the lady in middle school, as well as the lady I talked about, all these people changed, my life. And it's like, even I think sometimes when people ask if they would like want to stay there a long time and like move up, like I ended up getting, like, hopefully getting, I have a contingent job offer to like work at Whole Foods and like be a shopping person.
Yeah.
And when I was thinking about it, I was like, if there's any job that I would want during the day so that I could play sets at night, it would probably be that, because they pay you decent. Um, and like Whole Foods and Trader Joe's isn't like, shoveling a bunch of shit in your
Dude, it's
face.
where it's at, to be honest.
Yeah,
Love
there's
that
a bunch of
place.
really good stuff there. They treat their employees well. I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid okay. All right, I'm
Yeah.
not really complaining about it. And so I see moving up in that company as an opportunity, because this is another thing that when I would tell people what I wanted to do, that I wanted to own a business and I wanted to play music and I wanted to do all of them would be like, you can't do that many things. And I'm like,
Mm,
yeah, no, you can. You just can't do it all at once. That's
mm,
just, no one can do it all at once. No one has all of the information, always being curious. And, if you are one of those people who wants to achieve more, like that's the way that you get there, you know. That's a very wise way to look at things. And that's the way that I looked at things. And sometimes I would say something to my parents or people around me that like an instrument wasn't serving me anymore, and
mm,
they would take it as I was ungrateful for the instrument or the music that was coming out of it. And it's like, no, I'm super grateful for that. One of the reasons that it's not serving me is because I'm super grateful for that. And I would love to go further playing keys. Like, I would really love to go further. And that's one of the reasons why that keyboard wasn't serving me. And I'm very grateful for, I would not have gotten to the place where I know I can go to the next level, because I mastered the level that I was at. I did
mm.
everything that I could do. Um, yeah. And Ashley actually said something very insightful to me yesterday, or 2 days ago, because I wrote a song, and she played like 8 seconds of it, and then she stopped it, and she was like, that. And I was like, what? She was like, expound on that. I want to hear what
Mm.
that was. I didn't hear what that
Wow.
was. I just heard the notes, and I was like, wow.
Mm.
Okay. So now when I'm going to write the music, I have a different approach about it that is so much more careful and like focused. And that's why I'm so thankful for her, because she's able to say things like that and get
Yeah.
get it in my head. And information like that is
Wow.
valuable.
Dude, it's awesome to have that person so close, someone that you know and can trust to give it to you straight.
Yeah.
So close. I think that's awesome. I would love to ask you like, what are some of the people who influence you maybe famous musicians, or maybe they don't have to be famous, local musicians who maybe you would do the same to, in the sense of like, ooh, 8 seconds, 10 seconds, 5 seconds. I would love to know that. What was that? Tell me more about that. And then I also asked that because like I have beef. I hate the expression of influencers, people who are on YouTube,
Ooh, a lot of people
and
hate that one. A lot of
right.
people hate that one.
I struggle with it because we've just been on this call for like an hour, and we've talked about people who've had such influence in our lives, people who have everyday jobs, who work at Whole Foods, who work at Sight and Sound, who work at your local gas station, who are influential, but we celebritize the ones who are making millions on YouTube because they're influencers. But in reality, like, man, we all have that in us.
Yeah, um that's a very good question. Um like Stevie Wonder really influenced me.
Mm,
Um and I think the reason that well there here's the thing. They are celebrities. They are not
mm,
influencers. They should be called celebrities because no matter how you get there, once you're famous, you're famous. You're a celebrity, you're a public figure, whatever. And like people will take that and run with it. Like that's going to get run with. Um and like the influence that I want to have is like the influence that Stevie Wonder had and like the influence that Hannibal Buress had. Like Hannibal Buress
mm.
broke that Cosby story. Hannibal Buress is a fucking comic. Hannibal Buress talked to a bunch of chicks who was like, "What happened?" He did, and then he told it to somebody, and somebody was like, "Oh yeah," and he was like, what the fuck do you mean? Oh yeah, what the fuck does that mean?
Mm.
What are you talking about? And they were like, "Oh yeah, he does that," but no one says anything. He was like, "Why? Who is
and
he?"
they didn't sit there and
No,
accept it. They did, but Hannibal.
yeah,
So
that's what I mean. Like all
right,
those comics, like people who really influenced me is like Anderson Paak influenced me a lot. Uh
dude, right on.
yeah, Stevie Wonder influenced me a lot. Neil Peart influenced me a lot.
Mm.
Um oh my god, what is that lesbian's name? She's a great songwriter. She's the one who wrote September. She influenced me a lot.
Okay.
Um those people like Stevie Wonder influenced me in the way of like when I was about 8 years old, I heard Living in the City for the first time, but I did not hear the radio version.
Okay.
I heard the outro. And when I
Mm.
heard the outro, which is basically a dude standing going into New York City and being like, "Wow, New York City. You know, the city of lights. This is so great." He's a tourist. Some dude runs up to him and goes, "Here, can you hold this for me, partner?" Yeah, yeah. And then he runs away, and then the police throw him in jail, and cuz he's black, they just like convicted him, and this is not on Songs in the Key of Life. This is on Intervisions, which is Stevie Wonder has 5 albums that are just like amazing that people call his genius period. And Songs in the Key of Life is in that genius period. And he influenced me because when I was 6 years old, I cried listening to I Just Called to Say I Love You. And it's just like a cheesy song, but I don't know, man. He's just a really good songwriter. And I think the people who really influence us are the people who can get us to feel an emotion and
Mm.
the people who invoke those emotions without us even like really realizing um where how much they're affecting people, you know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, those people influenced me, and trying to think of comics.
While you
Uh,
think of that, I wanna share with you
yeah, go ahead.
somebody who, for me, like musically, I would say is like, I hate to use the term genius because like anybody, like, you think of the greats when you say genius. So like
Yeah.
he's he's still grinding it. I mean, he's still making music today. I wouldn't want to put that label on him, but like truly just someone who I respect. And again, not that I play music, but I can hear something. I'm like, well, there goes my hope of ever wanting to make music. He already did it.
Yeah.
His name is John Mark McMillan,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and
Yeah, yeah.
he is someone who lyrically, I just love his lyrics, but
Yeah,
what
that
really proved it to me was he had an album called Mercury and Lightning, I believe it was called, came out a few years ago, and top to bottom, I thought it was a fantastic album. And then a year later, he came out with the same album, but he reworked every song. And it wasn't that he remixed them because, I mean, every artist out there has a remix of another one of their songs featuring some DJ or featuring somebody else or featuring someone who is just on it additional to that. But what he did is like truly he reworked the song from, I'm going to keep the same lyrics, but it's going to be an entirely new song. So I'm going to rework the music entirely to the point where it's not recognizably the same. And for me it was just like I can't unhear that first song once I hear it. Once
mhm.
I hear, Thriller by Michael Jackson, it's like that's the song, right? I just know that that's the song you're talking about.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's able to say, I'm going to forget what I did and I'm going to rewrite this same song. The parameters are I'm keeping the lyrics. And not only that, he creates an album that's just as good as the first one. I was just like simply blown away
That guy's a
at
legit writer.
I
He's
yeah,
legit writer.
I was just yeah, I couldn't comprehend it. I couldn't wrap my head around that process.
Yeah. Um yeah, that you get to this point in songwriting, or at least it seems from the outside that you can work to the point that you you just get to a different level, you know? Like that guy's at a
Mm,
different level. He's
yeah,
he's he's really really grinding it out. Um and I mean, that's the other thing. Like people called Stevie Wonder a genius. Stevie Wonder, I mean, less than 40, less than
mm,
35. Stevie
yeah,
Wonder came on the scene before he was 18. So it's
yeah,
like he's been here for a long time, and then people were just like, "Oh yeah, this is your genius period." Like he got to songs in the key of life, and that's when people were like, "Oh shit, we might have one," because
mm,
like Prince had one um at the beginning and Prince had one at the end. Like people don't Prince made a few albums in the last couple years that he was alive that they just came out, and I was like, "Excuse me? What the fuck?" That's when I heard "I Want to Be Your Lover" for the first time. I was like, "Oh, can you like leave some fucking music for the rest of us? What are you doing, bro? You're
yeah,
ruining my life. You're ruining it." Like that's really the level that
yeah,
those people are at. And honestly, I want to get to that level, and th- that's how I think everyone should be. Like, I think you should want to push for your dreams. You should want to push for the stuff that you want to get. And when you look over that person, um, look, no matter what their job is, a lot of people have like a lot of people can have a lot of shitty opinions, and they can have some really great opinions. So you have to take everything and judge it for yourself, and also,
mm,
see what works, and sometimes don't accept working as enough. Sometimes you should look at a situation and go, I am not getting as much out of this. Are the people around me getting as much out of this? Like, is it just me? Should I change my perspective? Um, it changed my work ethic though, because when I looked at those people, I found out that Stevie Wonder could play every instrument. Prince could play every instrument. Dave Grohl could play mostly every instrument except for keys. He's not. He's a pretty shitty keys player. Yeah, he's pretty horrible.
Shout out to Dave Grohl.
Shout out to Dave Grohl,
Love that
legend.
guy.
He's another guy who influenced me a fuck ton. Taylor
Yeah.
Hawkins, the whole Foo Fighters band, those guys influenced me a fuck ton. Um, and don't just take a celebrity as someone who should influence you. Like, Stevie Wonder makes great songs, but like Stevie Wonder's on like his fifth wife. Don't take marital advice from Stevie Wonder, okay? Play the songs while you're, making babies. That's what the songs are made for. But don't go up to Stevie and be like, "Hey, is this girl good for me?" Don't ask him. Don't ask him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, and you know what? I have a question for you, because
Yeah.
who influenced you? Like, you have a very interesting taste in music. And what was the concert that we went to
Hmm.
with Jackie Benyon, amazing comic Jackie Benyon on Twitter. Hit her up, support your local comics, you fucks.
Quite possibly the strangest Twitter of all time. But shout out to Jackie
Yo,
because she's a real one.
if you need a good chuckle, just go on there, okay?
Honestly, like local stand up in Lancaster, like I've hit a couple of shows, and truthfully, it's one of those things where like some of it is so bad that you're like, give me a pen, write me down, I'll go up there and see if I can make a joke out of myself
Yeah,
because it's so bad.
that's what people think about music too.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've
And
learned.
then I see Jackie, and it's not because we're friends, because like I keep it real with people, but like she actually is one of the best in Lancaster that I have seen. Like it's her, and it's the tall black dude whose name I don't remember because I've seen him at two shows, but I know
Yeah.
Jackie, so that's why I remember her name. And honestly, she's funny. She's got really good jokes on Twitter. She's like an all around really good person.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jackie.
Shout out to Jackie
Um,
Benyon. I believe it's Jackie Benyon on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Go look her up. She's great. Follow her.
Tinder, I don't know.
You can't
Jackie, I'm
at
trying to help
people
you
on
out.
Tinder, G.
Oh, that's not how it works.
No, that's
That proves my loyalty. Shout out to my girlfriend.
that does prove your loyalty.
Um, and people who influence me, I don't know, man. To me, one of them, it's funny. One of them might be two baseball players, and it's
Interesting.
just in the scheme of life. When it comes to music, like I said, John Mark McMillan is huge. I think
Yeah.
someone like Dave Grohl, like you mentioned, is
Yeah. Sports
huge.
is huge too. Sports is huge, dude. That I didn't realize how much Kobe meant to me until he died. I have not. I
Right,
swear to God,
right,
I have not watched a full half of basketball. Gee, does have I explained to these people how insane it is that I have not watched
bro,
a full half of basketball?
bro, Kobe. That's crazy.
Yo,
Like honestly,
rest the bean, rest Gianna. Jesus Christ, the whole
man.
everybody in
Shout out to
that.
the family.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
whole horrific thing. Oh my God, all of you.
For me, I would say Jackie Robinson,
Ooh,
like
yeah,
breaking the color barrier. I mean, I may not be black, but that doesn't mean that someone like Jackie Robinson did not open the doors for Hispanic people in the same way that he
oh,
opened them
1,000%. Well,
for any person of color.
that's the thing that like I honestly get in a fight with Ash's parents because they're Dominican, and I'm like, you
Mm,
motherfuckers are half black. You're just as black as
mm,
I am, and they like detest it. And I'm like, you guys don't realize that like the whole time we were fighting next to each other. It's just that I think they knew too, but they were just like, ah, these fucking God, they're so prideful. He was just like, whatever, fuck
Mm,
them. I'm gonna fight for them anyway. And it's like that was the point. That's the point of all of it when we should help people. It's because like
yeah,
all the doors that I open up, I do open up for Hispanic people as well. Like all the doors that Ash opens up, like all the things that she does, I mean, she, really like inspires me sometimes that I'm like, oh shit, there's not that much difference between any of us. And honestly, there's not that much difference between us and white people, except, they
yeah.
started out with, they're playing Monopoly with $2,000. We got 200.
Yeah, no, honestly, it's not about one getting one over the other. It's truly about equality, and equality in both fighting for equal rights for men and women, and for different races, like the race relation, like seeing someone be shot, and and the person who killed a certain person not be arrested. Like, again, I just can't wrap my head around certain things like that, and it's truly heartbreaking. I think that's something that's really heavy on my heart all the time whenever there's a post about like a police brutality event, and I'm not looking at color. I'm looking at, well, why would somebody do that?
Yeah.
And once you find out the details and you find out that it was a white cop with a black man, it's so unfortunate. But that's not what I'm looking at first. I'm looking at the action, and the newest one that hit the news. It's like it's super heartbreaking and it's heavy, and you just feel for people. Like, there's a rapper that I really like called KB, and he truthfully he said he was sitting in his car in his driveway, and a police officer came up to him in his car in his driveway and said, "What are you doing?" Like, there's, again, just interrogating him. My man had to buy a treadmill so that he wouldn't have to go run outside, so that he would have to run inside because he was scared. And
Yeah.
like that's no way to live. So all that to say, Jackie Robinson has opened doors that we're still trying to fully swing wide open. I think we're
Yeah.
barely opened up that door, just to see who's on the other side, but it's not fully open yet. And then another person, another baseball player is Roberto Clemente. Um,
Oh my
and
God, that guy influenced the shit out of me.
it's all the humanitarian things, and it's so sad when you see how he passed away. He was delivering goods and healthy things to people in need. And it's like it's so unfortunate that someone would have to go out that way, but it just calls up the character of the person.
Yeah.
Um, it just makes me want to see how much I have so that I understand my privilege. Because being a Hispanic in this country who is a DACA recipient is still like, hey, you have privileges that you don't even realize. Like, forget
Yeah.
about the privileges that you wish you had, that you're jealous of other people for having. Be generous for the ones that you do have, and pave the way for other people so that they don't have to go through what you went to.
Yeah, and like I think also like some of the one of the things that like I really like so I was thinking like comics that like really changed me were like Daniel Tosh, because that
Hmm.
guy was like, "Oh, I'm gonna do Tosh Point out and I'm gonna be rich as fuck," and everyone was like, "You're insane." And then when people started flying away from Comedy Central, they were like, "What are you doing?" He was like, "Oh, it doesn't. This is gonna last forever. You guys don't get it. You guys don't get it. We
Hmm.
figured it out." And he he donates money, and no one knows how nice of a guy that guy is. He just has a temper, and like
Hmm.
he's a funny person, and he's very witty, and words are always his weapon. So like sometimes I see um people like lash out at him for like making a joke about something, but it's like, where do you think someone learns of something that horrific? Like he
Yeah.
probably learned it from experience. And that's why he's joking about it. And the fact that he has to come out and say that, he's like, I don't I don't have to, because look at all this shit that I have. Like he was one of
Yeah.
those guys who's like, I'm a minimalist. I don't need anything. He's like, I don't have to worry about my bills. I don't have to worry about where my food's coming from. I don't have to worry about healthcare. I could get some of the best healthcare in the world. I can pay to, isolate myself if the world goes to shit. I shouldn't need fucking anything. And that was one of the first times where I was like, "Oh, wow, that's like a crazy concept. I never
Yeah.
realized that." And like, I try to tell Asha all the time, like, one of the things that she should be thankful for is like, if you two had to move to Spain, you would be fine. For the first six
Mm.
months, I would be shitting myself every day before I had to leave the house. And it's like, it's like the some people don't even realize like how much of an accomplishment it is also. Like, you know, when you work your brain so that you can just like download a language and be able to get more accustomed to it. Like I see her picking up on things in like Korean and this, and like just like being able to read things that I can't read, and I'm like, "Oh wow, that's crazy." And that is something that uh I don't know, everybody can talk about the shitty things in their situation. Everybody can talk about the ways that they're disadvantaged. But,
Yeah.
if you think about the advantages and, think about the opportunities that you have, or even when I felt like I wasn't getting as many opportunities in Hamilton as I thought I was going to, I always had this feeling in the back of my mind like, this isn't the place that I'm going to end up.
Mm.
Like, this isn't the end point. There's something
Yeah.
like I'm supposed to be somewhere else. Um, and yeah, I'm very thankful for the fact that I don't need to speak the language in a country as long as I can play music. I can make a
Mm.
living basically anywhere. Like I could teach people stuff, um, even when there's a little bit of a language barrier. And
Yeah.
um, you know,
The
I,
art in itself is the language.
yes, that is the language. When I talk to musicians often and when I talk to comics often, you know, we'll talk about like how we can talk to the people in the room.
Mm.
And I think that that's lost if you don't know, what we're saying. It's not so that we can talk at these people. It's so that these people can understand us and we can
Mm.
understand them. And Jacob Collier is someone who influenced me a lot because, he's like, if you make a song, and I just apply everything with music, honestly, to life and to all of the
Sure.
art that I make. Um, but he was like, if people can't see themselves in you, then
Mm.
everything you do is for nothing because
Wow.
it's not going to live past you. And you hopefully do things that live past you. And that's like something very big that I think a lot of people could benefit from thinking about that because look, it's not easy being a Spanish person in this country right now. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but you have the wherewithal to be like, yeah, no, I'm super thankful for this. And yeah, you're just you have a very wise, um patient, even kind of way of thinking, um that like I think a lot of people could benefit. And like, you also are like very good at not uh just like live and let live, like let people do whatever they want. you know i don't
Mm. Yeah.
feel I don't feel look, man, I'm definitely thankful for expression. I was like trying to think of
Yeah.
comics. The thing that I'm most thankful for is like the fact that I'm able to make songs and make things that like convey emotion and people will be like, "Oh wow, that's really beautiful."
Yeah.
And uh that's what means a lot to me. And man, I I I don't think if I ever told you something about myself that like you wouldn't choose for yourself, that
Mm.
you would ever like judge me for it. And
Right.
that's what if anybody's looking for the meaning of friendship, that's it. Like that's why people wouldn't guess us to be friends because on paper we're diametrically opposed human beings. But like what brings us together is like our way of thinking that it's like
Mm.
that supersedes all of like a genuine person who's doing good and just like working hard and doesn't, judge people. Like, I don't know, man. I don't think anybody else's life really affects me a ton. Like the
Mm.
choices you make in your life don't affect me unless they're dangerous. So, um yeah, just be kind to everybody.
Yeah, man, that's the beauty of knowing where you at. For example, when I was talking about privilege earlier, is like I could look at what somebody else has and be jealous and hope for something that I don't have, or I can realize the gravity of my situation, what I do have, and know that what I have, despite circumstances, what I do have, I can give away. So
Yeah.
if I can give away love and empathy and appreciation and understanding, friendship, to other people so that they can experience that same joy, um, I'd be selfish to not want to share that. If I'd rather look at my situation and be like, you know what, I'm upset because I'm not a citizen, and I feel like it's really unfair that the government doesn't allow blah 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 blah. I'm gonna take that out and be frustrated at the world and treat people poorly because I feel like I've been mistreated,
Yeah.
and I'm stealing and I'm taking away positive energy from other people, because of where I'm at. Instead of like, you have so many good things to offer, and knowing that you're not going to be the juiciest peach for everyone, right? It's
Yeah.
like you be the juiciest peach in the world, and there's always going to be that one person who doesn't like peaches.
Yes.
Again, shout out to my girlfriend who just told me about that analogy. I think just yesterday in our morning walk, but truthfully, it's like I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I'm not her cup of tea every day.
Yeah.
um, but I just want to. The thing about me is I like to think about things. I love to make other people think. So some people will grow up voting Democrat because their parents voted Democrat, and that's all they know. And what I want to do is ask them why. Not want to change your mind. Not want to tell you that you're right or wrong. I want to know the why, because if I know the why, I know you've thought about it, and I know that you're not just choosing something because it is the way it is. If I
Yeah.
know that the people that I'm with are engaged and have thought about something, then I can't say you're right or wrong. But what
Yeah.
I can say is, cool, you've thought about this. That's really cool. I'm proud of you. Um, it really grinds me gears when someone's like, I don't know, it's just the way I've always done it. Because it's like, no,
Yeah.
think about it.
It's like when people go, "I'm Catholic," and I go, "Oh, why?" And they go, "Oh, because I grew up Catholic." And I was like, "Okay, but like, do you go to church?" And they were like, "Wait, are you religious?" And I was like, "No, it just seems odd. Like if your dad only wore green underwear, would you
Mm.
just be like, "Oh yeah, I have to go to the store and find green underwear." Like what do you like that's the other thing that like when I was making music, I noticed it took people a second to like respond how it was feeling, and I
Mm.
enjoyed that. And I was like, "Oh, okay. So now we're just like playing this game of if we can match and if I can slip something in there of like, you know, just like maybe something for you to think about. And if you even think about it once, and even if you listen to the song once and then like, you're like, "Oh, I wouldn't listen to this song in the car or this, but this one moment when I'm like alone and I want to hear this thing and kind of have a meditation on this emotion." Like if you can have a moment with that emotion and think about it and think about the ways that it's affected you,
Mm.
maybe you will be more mindful when those emotions come up and when those situations come up, or when you hear that there's a promotion that could be up for, and you want to figure out how you can better yourself. It's like, then you're doing what you could do. If you want to figure out like how you can connect more to things in your life, um think about that. Like, that's what you should be thinking about. So yeah, like, and sometimes people will miss the point and be like, but wait, you shouldn't say that because you're not religious. And I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm like, I definitely believe in the universe and that there's something that none of us can see that is making a bunch of shit. We're not the only intelligent thing in the world. Like, there's there's no way. There's literally no
Yeah.
way. There's so much stuff. You're telling me this is the only thing that can make life? There's planets just like this. There's people just like this. And I hope that those planets and those people came up with a way nicer way to live quicker than we did, because there's some improvements that could be made.
Yeah. And I think a
But
huge thing is people think that they should change their mind. Like people think that when I approach them or you approach them or somebody else approaches them with a thought that's different than theirs, that person's coming at them personally with
yeah,
an agenda. And
or
and
yeah, no,
yeah, I
or
think
that you
that's the
can't
case.
switch, or that you can't switch. Like,
Yeah.
they think it's bad if you change their mind, but you're just like presenting a point.
Yeah, and I think that that has I think that's the case because it might be true. People are coming at other people like that.
Yeah.
And but what if the approach was changed so that it's like, hey, I'm coming at you so that I can understand you
Mm.
and I don't want to change you, but if I can make you think and you then decide that you want to look into something more, I see that as a win for everybody, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and uh we'll wrap it up in after this,
Mhm.
but yeah, it is because I think of all topics as like, I was sitting in this corner thinking about it. Like, while we're not talking to each other, we can always be thinking about something. So like,
Mhm.
I'm thinking that both of us are thinking about it in these separate corners, and then we come together and like figure out, like, I just want to hear what you came up with.
Right.
Um and if you thought about it, that's great. If you didn't think about it, I hope I made you think, like, oh yeah, you know what? I'm going to spend some time pondering on this because I didn't have an answer.
Mhm.
Um and even if you don't have an answer, figure out why you don't have an answer. And if you figure out why you don't have an answer, then you don't have an answer. It's literally as simple as that. I'm not going to really press you for that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but thank you, man. This was great. I definitely set out to do one topic, but
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know. Every time I talk to you, we have this way of just navigating through a conversation, and it was a great conversation.
Dude, I think it's so hard to box life into one thing because it's also encompassing. Like you
Yeah.
said, one topic about something completely random is like, and I think and you'll bring that point to music and
Yeah.
sports and you'll pull that into the direction that you know about. So I love just being able to talk and keeping it real and not hiding anything. Just like, hey, this is who I am. This is who you are. Like, let's be genuine. Like, no need to want to be someone else because if I heard this thing and it was like if you try to be like someone else you're never going to be like them and you're never going to be yourself. You're going to be
Yeah.
somewhere in the middle where you're really never to your full potential.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
Yeah, man. That's people always tried to make limbo like this place. I think that's really what limbo is.
Mm,
That's true limbo. If you're just like trying to be something else and you're never just trying to be you. But G,
yeah,
you are always you, and I have to thank you
dude,
for that.
anytime you want a convo, hit me up. I love to talk, obviously.
Obviously.
So I'll drop whatever I gotta drop. And I'm ready to talk. So hit
Yeah,
me
man.
up. Shout out to anyone who's listening, and of course support your boy. Support one another. Doesn't have to be just Curtis or myself or Jackie and her comedy. Like support
Yeah.
the people around you.
Yeah, man. Support everybody. Uh Again, Geancarlo Vargas. Do you want to plug anything, buddy?
Um, I would just plug in love, man. Love one another. I think that's what we're designed for.
Damn, I need the
I don't know
Jesus
if
and
we're,
Miro rainbow. I need to hit those motherfuckers up.
dude, I don't think we were designed for hate.
No, oh man. And if we were, we should change it.
If we were, let's change that. You know,
Yeah,
starts with us.
yeah.
But that's all I got to plug.
Oh man, thank you, G. Citrus Flow on Instagram. Curtis underscore flow on Twitch. I believe it is Citrus Flow on Twitter as well. And yeah, the wonderfully wrong, the recorded audio will go up on platforms eventually. Uh, we just gotta see. That stuff costs money, as
Dude,
I'm sure we all know.
hey, let me know how much you want me to Venmo you.
You don't have to Venmo me anything. But there is a PayPal,
Hey,
cjrmedias.com,
there
that
it
you
is.
could PayPal it right to me. Okay. I do have a Venmo, and I think it's just Curtis Sullivan Jr. I actually don't know what my
Dude,
Venmo
plug
is.
that. Get that
Yeah.
money,
Okay.
plug
Wait, wait,
it.
wait. Let me plug this Venmo. Oh, it's at Curtis Sullivan. That's it. At
There you
Curtis
go.
Sullivan. Hey, that's what my Venmo is. We're all learning. All right. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, everyone.